What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made these beautiful, delicious, smoky, tender, juicy, amazing direct heat rib tips. Coming up. This is some meat. Pat it dry. And what I got here is some absolutely beautiful looking rib tips. Out of all the rib tips I've ever seen, these are definitely looking the best. Nice and thick, nice and meaty, good amount of fat on there. I mean, just look at the marbling and the color of that pork. Love it. And if you're unfamiliar with rib tips, basically this is part of the full spare rib that they cut off to make the St. Louis cut. Meaning right where the bones meet the cartilage, that's where they usually cut right along the fat seam to give you that nice squared off St. Louis cut pork rib, and this is what's left over. Oftentimes we leave these on here in Texas for doing full-size spare ribs, but a lot of people really like that St. Louis cut of ribs, meaning you're left with these rib tips, and these are a perfect thing to throw on the smoker, throw on the grill. Makes for a really nice juicy bite and is perfect for a game day. And for a lot of people, this is one of their favorite bites in barbecue. Not too common around these parts, but around the country you can find them on barbecue menus. I know up in Chicago, Lem's is really famous for their rib tips, and for good reason. They're super fun to cook, really quick and easy because they're so small and thin, and it's basically rib meat, so you can do whatever flavor profile you like. Speaking of which, let's get these seasoned up. As I mentioned, you can make these sweet, you can make them spicy, you can go just salt and pepper, really do whatever you want. But because this is part of the football food series, today I'm gonna add a little extra kick with some good old-fashioned snake bite. This is my spicy rub, and it's pretty much perfect for wings or this kind of application, because when we were working on this recipe, we were thinking about a wing sauce and kind of game day foods in general. So it's got a little bit of heat, some nice savory flavors, and it's also got some vinegar powder in there, giving it a little bit of tang, kind of like a buffalo sauce, and has a lot of great flavor. But of course, you can use whatever rub you like, make your own, or just go salt and pepper. Totally up to you. That patted in, flip them over, making sure to get all sides, including the sides, because otherwise that'd be a rookie move. Ooh, smelling good already. And that is looking pretty much perfect to me. Let's go ahead and fire up the pit. And on the pit we go, going bone side down, just like a rack of ribs. Rocking this pit probably around 300 degrees. We'll check back in a little bit. I gotta say, folks, I'm pretty excited about this one. I haven't made rib tips in quite some time, and I've only actually made them once on the channel so far, but I did it on the offset behind me, and they were fantastic. But I've never done them on the mini Chud box over there, which is funny because that's really close to how they're originally cooked up in South Chicago. And if you want to learn more about that, I highly recommend checking out Omnivorous Adam's video with Joe Yim, where they go to Lem's, taste the food, and then try and recreate it. And as any true carnivore will tell you, the best part of the spare rib is that knuckle meat with all the cartilage at the very top. Whew, so tender, so succulent. And if you can't find rib tips like this in your local supermarket, I highly recommend checking out the sponsor of this video, Porter Road. Porter Road is an online butcher shop based out of Nashville, Tennessee, that specializes in really high quality meats, whether that's whole carcass dry aged beef, humanely raised on pasture pork, incredibly high quality chickens, they've got some charcuterie, and all sorts of great stuff. I have a list of my favorite cuts that I've gotten from Porter Road on their website, which I'll have in the description box down below. And my favorite part about Porter Road is you can get pretty much whatever you want, whether that's a subscription service or a la carte, just like shopping at a local butcher shop. And they've got everything you know and love, like the classic steaks, ribeyes, strips, that sort of thing. But they also carry all the offcuts, the butcher cuts that you don't see all the time, like hanger steaks, outside skirt, picanhas, beef cheeks, pig wings, all sorts of great stuff. And because everything is butchered by hand with extreme attention to detail, all their cuts are absolutely beautiful, nicely squared off, no scraggly bits hanging off, no broken bones or splintered bones. I'm not sure if you noticed when I opened up these rib tips, they had an extra layer of protection around the bones because a lot of times they can poke the cryovac, so very happy about that. And everything I've gotten from them has been absolutely delicious. And like I mentioned, everything is humanely raised on pasture, which is really great for supporting domestic ranchers, but also the quality of the meat really does speak for itself. Just the color of that pork on these rib tips is unlike anything I've got at my local supermarket, and the flavor is noticeably better. I've been shopping with Porter Road for a very long time now. I highly recommend it. It's super convenient to go on their website and pick and choose whatever cuts you like and have them shipped right to your door. Steaks and chops are shipped fresh, never frozen, and it's a really great way to stock up on some high quality meat. So if you're in the market to pick up some meat, maybe try some new cuts, head over to porterroad.com using the link in the description box of this video, or using my link you can get 15% off your first order. Again, that's porterroad.com. Using my link you can save 15% on your first order. Thank you, Porter Road. While we wait for our rib tips to cook, let's go ahead and get a barbecue sauce ready. Starting off with some homemade pork stock, and I'm just gonna let this reduce down for a bit. Ooh. probably by half. And if you don't have homemade pork stock, you could easily use some chicken stock or some bouillon or something like that. But I'm gonna reduce this down to really bump up the flavors. And now that this is reduced down from about 1 quart to maybe a cup, cup and a half, it's time to go in with everything else. Starting with some dehydrated onions, some granulated garlic, some chili powder, some smoked paprika, a little bit of cayenne, some freshly cracked black pepper, some ketchup, some yellow mustard, some Worcestershire sauce, a little bit of hot sauce, some apple cider vinegar, and some brown sugar. And bring that back up to a simmer. And just like that, our barbecue sauce is done. I'm going for a bit of a thin barbecue sauce today. I made similar sauces like this in my chopped beef video or my pulled chicken sandwich video, and I really like it. The richness of the stock kind of gives it a gloss, but it's still got all the balanced flavor from a normal barbecue sauce. And it's very tasty. Highly recommend it. Checking in on these rib tips, been probably an hour or so. I moved them around once or twice. This one had a lot of fat on the underside and had a bit of a flare up, so got a little bit crispy, but I'm okay with that. I like a hot and fast rib. So now we're gonna flip these over, get some color on the underside, and if you can't tell, there's a whole bunch of smoke coming from all the fat dripping, so we're gonna have some really good flavor on these bad boys. But we're gonna keep going until they feel nice and tender. All right, we're about 3 hours into this cook total. These guys are looking really nice. Give these a little flip, loving the color on there, pulling back from the little bones a little bit, and looking very tasty. Happy about that. I didn't know these had bones in them. That's kind of cool. But they're probing pretty tender, reading right around 200 degrees, so I'm gonna pull these off and wrap them up. But before I wrap them up, take some of our barbecue sauce we just made. I'm gonna paint these all over. Oh yeah, nice and rich. Gonna make for a beautiful little glaze, nice saucy bite. Flip them over, flip them over. The smell of just direct heat pork is so good. And this barbecue sauce is kind of like a hybrid between your traditional barbecue sauce and a Carolina style mop sauce. So I think it should work out really well for these. The acidity should really cut through that fatty, direct heat, porky goodness while adding some wonderful sweetness and other good flavors. And I swear they look super black on my camera right now, but they've got a nice deep red on my end. So hopefully that comes through in the end. But I'm gonna wrap these up nice and tight. Probably gonna pop these back on the pit for another 30 minutes or so, give them a probe, and once they're feeling nice and tender, off they'll come to rest. All right, y'all, and off the pit these come. Our rib tips are looking incredibly tender, nice and steamy. Ooh, and they smell so good. Ooh, feeling nice and tender. Look at that flop. These guys too, looking real nice. Loving the color on that. The direct heat smell is just out of control. Bone pullback looking good. So now all we need to do is get these bad boys sliced up. Got a couple of little bones in here. You can kind of see them, so I'm just gonna aim right between those. Pretty sure the rest of this is boneless. I guess we'll find out. And there we have it. Ooh, looking so juicy. That collagen is feeling nice and tender. Beautiful bark. Just, oh, come on. Who doesn't want to take a bite out of that? God, that smells so good. Just a lovely little bite of barbecue right there. Boop, boop, boop. Love it. I mean, really, folks, you guys got to try this out. Some high quality pork cooked on the Chud box. Amazing direct heat flavor with a homemade barbecue sauce. I mean, come on. But I suppose I probably should cut these up as well. Ooh. Tell you one thing, these are a lot easier to cut than regular ribs, especially those pesky baby backs. And that is just a perfect little party food right there. Beautiful little bite. Ooh, that looks so good. So meaty, so juicy. All right, let's dive in. I think first up, I gotta go for one of these big boys. It just looks so good. Oh, that is so good. That meat is so succulent. I don't think there is any other word for it. Look at that cute little rib bone. Again, the taste of that pork, unbeatable. These are just so tender, so sticky. Just a wonderful bite. That is quintessential direct heat barbecue right there. That little zip and zing from the old snake bite rub is coming through. But again, nothing is overpowering. I would not call these spicy. Oh, they're so good. Y'all definitely need to make these. This is a true barbecue game day appetizer, you know what I mean? Nothing gimmicky about this. This is just a legitimately good cut for feeding a crowd little bite-sized foods. Like, who wouldn't want that? It's like a little bone-in burn end. Ooh. Yup. I know. It's phenomenal. Glad I got a few more of these sitting in my freezer. It's kind of like eating a chicken wing, you know, because there is that cartilage running through here that you can eat if you want to, but it's kind of fun to gnaw around it. You can also try and pull it out. There we go. Boop. And these cute little bones that are in some of these. That's just really good food. All right, y'all, before I dive headfirst into the rest of these, I think it's time for the official taste test. Oh, you missed. Wow, now we gotta do it again. All right, y'all, and that is it. That's how to make some absolutely fantastic direct heat smoky rib tips. I highly recommend giving this one a try, whether you're butchering down your own rack of spare ribs or you want to pick them up from Porter Road. They really are the perfect snack for a game day or a weeknight meal or pretty much any occasion. And if you've never given them a try, you definitely should. But all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button. Let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you give this recipe a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I'd love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Patreon members. Thank you for supporting Team Chud and allowing me to keep making all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace.